Shadow work takes faith. It's not easy. Ever notice why it's kind of scary? Well, fear is the opposite of faith, so that makes a lot of sense. The fear only attracts more fear, and the more we judge that fear, it makes things worse. But remember, behind fright there is light, and faith is also taking action. Because if you really believe it, you will do something about it. You know, it's not enough to just know it. You won't actually see the light till after you shadow break. So that's where the faith comes in, because you won't learn until afterwards. But it will help. I know from experience. Shadow work is not just taking faith only, but it's surrendering your pride and your ego, because you don't know everything. As much as we might want to think that we know much, we really don't. I mentioned before that when you're in low vibration, you have a lower awareness, so you don't know anything, everything, because you're in low awareness. You're not really aware of things outside of your ego, right? And so that basically means you're operating from judgment and less love, or lack of love, and so your beliefs are going to seem to give you a false sense of identity with how you associate and interact with life and what you think, what you pay attention to. So everything is not what it seems when you shift from a lower vibration to a higher vibration. Sorry. Oh, my arm got tired. It's only when you put the judgment and the ego and the pride aside that you realize that that things are much different, obviously, because when you raise an awareness, it's actually more empowering. There's more light in your life and in your mind, obviously. But the biggest thing about shadow work and shadow breaking is kind of getting outside of the victim mentality. Basically, you realize that you don't have to be a victim of other people's judgments, other people's shadow projection. You don't have to be miserable, and you don't have to hate yourself, and you don't have to be afraid to go outside of your comfort zone. You can be yourself, and you can express yourself, and it's okay to love yourself, and you don't have to be the version of you where one time you experienced no unconditional love, and afterwards you were never the same after that. You became your shadow self, and you developed your ego, and you internalized all that pain, and you kept all the energies of that pain, and you kept on attracting those same energies. So law of attraction is going to keep giving you that same thing, right? And you realize that, you know, part of loving yourself is expressing yourself too, and not suppressing yourself. We kind of get taught to judge some things about ourselves, that, oh, we need to hide this about ourselves, but we don't need to hide them. You realize that it's not about the lack of love you experienced in the past, but rather it's the lack of love you're not extending in the present. Ego cannot live in the present. So just as you might have had a bad beginning doesn't mean you have to stay in a bad present, right? All the pain is just for growth, and it's just for us to learn, and it's a life lesson. It's not supposed to be a life sentence where we have to lug around pain with us all the time, no matter where we go, and there's no way of healing it. That's not what the pain is supposed to teach us. It's not supposed to teach us to just, stay down the rest of our lives because we had something bad happen to us. Um, don't let bad memories prevent you from making good ones. You're not even your memories anyway, because that's where like a lot of your ego is anyway. So the ego can't live in the present, because basically it's just a result of our past memories. So even when it projects itself in the future, the result will only be the past. Only in the here and now can we create something new. So to bring law of attraction into this, you know that famous phrase, act as if, to manifest things? Well, a lot of us are still acting on that past, on that memories of that, on that pain. So you're still acting upon that ego, so you are just gonna get the same thing in the past, because you're still acting upon that. It means like you're still in your comfort zone, and your vibration will validate your ego and your point of view, and of course law of attraction is in there as well. So law of attraction works not just like to manifest things, but it's working also to show you like what you need to work on in the first place. So if you're attracting things that, you know, aren't, I guess, what you want, that means that you need to do some shadow work in order to get something else. You have something that's blocking it. So many of us are still carrying energy of that pain, that suffering, and that judgment, and so that the energy will match with other things. So like energies like attracts like. So if you're carrying energies of people, you know, hurting you or things like that, it's gonna be attracted. Or sometimes it's like a self-sabotage kind of thing, where it's not really that the situation is the same, it's just how you perceive the situation is what's controlling you. Before anything ever happens, it prevents you from, you know, because you're too afraid to go outside of your comfort zone, that you still act as if, you know, it's going to keep on happening. So you basically sabotage yourself into making sure like you don't face it because you're afraid of something will happen, but you're just like putting yourself in the same position anyway. So it's not really like protecting you or anything. It's just you're scared, basically. You're just scared, and you're not, you know, you're scared and you're not gonna move on from that because you're still afraid to move on from that. That's why going outside of your comfort zone is kind of scary, which means shadow work, because you have to go outside of what you're comfortable with in order to grow and learn. So the longer you go without unconditional love, the more crazy and miserable you become. So the reason why people do shadow work is because they know it's good for them, and they know that it helps them, and it helps unlock things about them, you know, that they never thought they had. It actually makes us see things for how they really are and not how we think they are, because we're operating at a different awareness, so we're gonna experience different things, right? So people also do their shadow work because they know too much truth and they can't go back, so they have to keep going forward. But they wouldn't have it any other way. So